Hi, good night. Wonderful, wonderful good night, Tobago. I am Edison Thomas, and we are live in Tobago Update Studios once again for another episode of For the Hour. Again, my name is Edison Thomas, and I will be guiding you through this evening's wonderful discussion about current events that is happening in our lovely island, Tobago. All right, I trust that you had a great weekend. We had a really hot weekend. Actually, I hope everyone is staying cool and staying safe. We don't want the weather to be adversely affecting anyone's health. All right, so stay indoors when you can during the day. Drink plenty of fluids. You don't exercise directly in the hot sun and all of that. All right, we also had some casualties over the weekend. I want to extend condolences to the families of persons who would have lost their loved ones. Actually, when it is that we lose people that young, it always rocks me because we generally never get to see the potential, right, of those persons come to fruition, right? And in an island such as ours, we always want to see the young persons who are in charge of our future mainly coming and realizing their full potential. So my condolences going out to the families of the ones that were lost over the weekend. But again, we have sterling discussions to happen this afternoon as usual. All right. And before we go to the guests, I really want to generally give commendations to this afternoon's guests because they all represent the village of Castara. And back in the day, right? I'm not too old as yet, but back when I was doing studies, I was in the hospitality space and tourism space. And back when I was studying for my degree, we did studies on Castara and the model that they have created as a village in Tobago, all right? And I want just to give great commendations, even back then before they were widely recognized as one of the model villages in Tobago as it terms tourism. We were studying them and what they had done in order to bring their village up to a point where it had become a marvel in Tobago. All right, so we have visitors here in Tobago Update Studios tonight from the village of Castara. I want to introduce them to you. We have Miss Lyris Walker, former secretary of the Castara Village Council. We have Junior Kwashi, the president of the Castara Fisherfolk Association. And we also have Mr. Ari Benjamin, Castara from the Castara Tourism Association. All right. So good night, everyone. Good night. Good night. I know you'll come out from Castara tonight for us to join us on tonight's show. All right. So I want to thank you for joining us on tonight's show. And I mean, we're going to have a sterling natural discussion tonight about what is currently going on in Castara. What is Castara doing in order to be recognized as one of the model villages in Tobago, all right? And some of the threats and stuff for that, we realize that Castara has some elements in there that you all want to address as well. So we're going to discuss all of that tonight, all right? But I want to frame up everything before we go into all of that. As I said before, Castara has now is now recognized, and it's as a model village in the Tobago space. Actually, the World Tourism Organization, you all actually have the world's best, the best village initiative going on right now, which is a pretty big deal for you guys. All right. So I want to ask anybody for the panel can answer, but at which point did Castara realize we can come together, right, and make this village a model village for travelers, for tourism? When did that really happen?
Okay, pleasant good night. My name is Junior Koshi. And I will say when Castara realized where is it going on is that we realized in the early 20s that
Early 2000s.
Tourists been coming and going. Always every year coming and going. So we realized that Castara have something great
right
to give to the world. And that is one of the means that we realize, because I guess been coming to Castara for the past 8 years, constantly, 12 years, constantly. Every year they return to Castara, to visit Castara, and Castara is something special for them. That's why they will be always coming.
All right. And when I was doing my studies on Castara, we realized that you all have like a kind of village hotel going on there, where all the accommodations and the restaurants and the car rental, everybody come together to give one product. Tell me how does that work? Anybody can tell me how does that work?
Okay. Speak about one product.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the tourism product, which is the way of life of the people. You know, we have a permanent way of life in Tobago.
Mm-hmm.
And we tend to offer the life temporarily to the tourists. We give them a temporary taste of our permanent way of life.
Okay. You know, I love how you put that. A temporary taste of you guys' permanent way of life in Tobago. So tell me some of the services that came together in Castara to really offer that product.
Well, I would say, you know, it began when what you call adolescents, teenagers, not so?
Mm-mm.
Well, in Castara, teenagers were given a chance to express themselves when I was a teenager. One of the problems in the world today are that teenagers aren't given a chance. They are the people who come to change every generation.
Mm-hmm.
And they are creative, but the adults do not give them a chance to express themselves. Hence, the place is how it is today.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the Castara Village Council, right? The Mount Irving Best Kept Village, they had a best kept village, the cleanest village in Tobago. And all the adults, everybody came out and they were clean up Castara, the adults, and we worked. We had great respect for adults that time, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and all the fathers, mothers. At that time, my mother was secretary to the village council, and Dr. Mackenzie, Eastlyn Mackenzie, Dr. Mac, she was one of the executive of the Mount Irving Best Kept Village Committee that staged this cleanest village in Tobago. And Betsy's beat us into second place, and we didn't take it lightly.
Okay.
And why they beat us? Presentation. We had the cleanest village, you know, but they had a place where the tourists could rest their weary feet and be entertained. We didn't have that.
We didn't have
They
it.
built a place of wood and bamboo, and after they beat us into second place, we went and we built a place in the entrance to the bay. We call it the block. You know, and like that was a welcoming thing for people coming into the village. You know why we built that thing? As teenagers now, the adults, you know, people used to lime in the rum shop. You know, it was a rum shop lime. And as teenagers now, we didn't want to be talked down to. And we said them is society people, we were liming with them. And the teenagers built that place. And it was a pivotal role in shaping Castara, because, you know, I look at teenagers now, all the fights and things in school, they're not given a chance to express themselves. It's the freest time of your life, you know, as a teen.
True.
You know, you're not your own worry. And so, hence the reason why you had this tightening, the narrowing of the gap, because you're not giving them a chance to speak, to express themselves. They're the most creative set of people, you know, adolescents.
So you talk about Castara doing the cleanest village competition back in the day. Is that something that we practice in Tobago? Do we still have those kind of competitions?
Yes, we have still.
They have it every year?
Yeah, you have certain times that Castara itself, the CTD, where the villagers come out together. And right now there is a forming Castara. We don't have a name for it, but we call it Castara United Group, because it have the ministers, got the pastor from the Pentecostal Church, Adventist Church, Baptist Church, fishermen, CTDA, footballers, everybody on board that group.
Right.
That we kept together and say, this is the way we have to go. We have the young Mr. Benjamin Akos on board, right, as our youth leader. So we have everybody on board. We not leave out nobody. We are working together because we don't see what Castara have, And bear in mind, Castara won the best tourism village in the Caribbean.
Right. And Mr. Benjamin, he talk about the youth work that they're doing in Castara. How is some of the ways the youth are involved in Castara?
Well, I would say that the youth, we tend to bond a lot through sports, through sporting activities and let's say outdoor and leisure activities. It's a way of life that we grown to live. Being out around the beach, or we might go hunting or things like these, and we form a real tight knit social group within the village. So there are quite a few, I want to call them older youths who tend to guide the younger ones and set the example, because we learn socially through the elders in the village, how we are to act as youth within the village. Because we tend to parent each other, each other's kids, and form that real social picture, I might say, of Castara. So we try our best to encourage positivity within the youths. Or if we're doing something, sometimes we come together and maybe just cook or something, and just keep the social life going, and the peace and the love within the village.
And is there the high level of respect between the youth and the elders of the village of Castara? Do you see any disconnect there, or it's just a harmonious thing?
Well, I would say that there is that respect. I can't say whether it is as much as there was back in the day. I can't speak for today's generation either, because back when I was a kid, we had Mr. Koshi over here. He was one of the main guys on the beach that the youth would respect. In regards to how we treat with each other, the things we will do wrong in the water, how we speak with the tourists and all of that. We can't be going around giving trouble, because your parents gonna hear about it before you get home. So,
right.
Just having strong figures within the village, and there are quite a few. It kind of forces us to keep that respect. Not entirely sure about today. We try our best, and there's still some positives to take from it. There's still some learning that the youths are doing in the right direction. However, I would say that's the main part as to why we have that sort of respect.
So you guys have that harmonious thing going on with all the groups.
Yes.
But something is missing. What I would say, what's missing?
Tell me.
The adolescents, teenagers aren't given a chance. There is a total disconnect, a disrespect for these people. I know why. Because as teens, we were given a chance to express ourselves. And I think that we have played a part in shaping Castara from then to now as teenagers, because our parents gave us that opportunity. Because if we could have built that, what we call the block by the entrance to the bay, to entertain strangers who come to our community as a place where they could sit and relax, get transport in a good way, and teenagers now aren't given a chance. I just be on the bus, I travel, mingle to see and how, but there's something missing for adolescents. Adolescents are the people who come to change every generation, but they aren't given a chance now.
Okay.
They aren't been heard.
Again, I see Castara as the model that you all have adopted in terms of all the persons, all the stakeholders that call Castara home, coming together to make sure that the village not only has a good product, but it's a good space to live for everybody in there, right? Do you guys think that the model that you have adopted will work well generally across the island? Or is it something that is only unique to the Castara space? Or is it something about Castara that just makes it work? Or you think that you could apply to all the spaces in the island?
Well, it's a respect, eh? Let me tell you, we had respect for the elders. Yeah, because I remember my father had frightened him, and though look, Junior was now telling me about certain ones, and But the youth had respect for them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
If you on the bay, because the bay is the place where the men would go and sit, and as I was taught that the first watchman in any community is the fisherman.
Mm-hmm.
And if something has to happen, you would see the side of the sea first. If fisherman come show and tell you getting a sea, watch out.
Okay,
You know what I'm saying?
okay.
And
Right.
but there isn't that respect now. Respect.
Right.
You know, something is missing. The people who, that's why they call the generation gap has widened. Because it's like I have elected you to that position, and then there isn't any communication between us.
Right.
There is a disconnect in communication. So it widens the gap.
So, Mr. Kwashi, so as I have you here from Fisher Folk, Castara Fisher Folk, if I'm not mistaken, you all recently had the Fisherman Fete. And I recall that you all had some issues going on with getting some permits. Was that sorted out? Tell me what the situation was with that.
Yes, it was sorted out. I will say a special thanks to Mr. Superintendent Kirk. Right, you know, the issue that there was a misunderstanding, and we had called and nobody had answered, and we said we go to the media, and then it was sorted out afterwards, and everything went down smoothly. Went down till 2 a.m., 2:30 in the morning.
Right.
Right, because I would say this clear that the only thing that Castara Fisher Folk, all the gifts we give out, everything free, you know, the free breakfast and sports event and whatever, is the bar that we depend on to make something. And if we had to pay for AME, police, everything, we had to get back something.
Right.
But he was good. He had no fight. Everything went smoothly.
Right.
Thank God. The weather was great. So all those who think that the rainfall, the rainfall outside, but in Castara, for sure. Castara was beautiful that year. Right. And Castara blessed place. So once you bless, you know, we.
Yeah. What I loved, let me tell you what I love about that situation, is that it was a united front. You realize that there was an issue, it was not being resolved. Castara came together and got the problem solved, right? And that is one of the reasons why I call Castara a model village. You understand? They come together, you agitate, and you get the problem solved, right?
Yeah.
But again, one of recent, we had Castara in the news once more for, if I'm not mistaken, there was a altercation, right?
Yep.
In Castara, and someone legal firearm, I read was a legal firearm, but shots were fired at a specific individual for a misunderstanding, right? Anybody care to clear up? Because I might not have all the full details as somebody on the ground in Castara.
Okay, let me just say clearly. We know what happened 2 Saturdays back, and it is engaging the police right now. Right, so we are going to say very little on that right now because we don't want to damage nothing saying within the arena. But what we know for sure is that letters has wrote, gone out, right, even authority, police came on the scene, do what it's supposed to do, and we are looking for a very speedily justification on this whole matter. Where the chip fall may stop, right? So we're not going to make any comment much about that issue because it's in the hands of the police. Let the police do their job. And we are seen as a united front in Castara. We are waiting for an answer as soon as possible.
From the police?
From the police.
Okay.
You asked a question that if we, Castara, could offer the model to any other village in Tobago, where I think so, you know. I think, you see, having a vibrant village council in a community in Tobago is integral for the development of any community.
Right.
Because through the village council, a lot of things can happen. Remember, a village council is the legal body in any community.
For the village.
And through the village council, letters could be written, asking and doing, you know, because what my friend told me, she said, Lewis, you can get monies for different programs and such, but it has to be sourced through the village council.
Okay.
We had a vibrant village council that shaped Castara, you know,
Right.
our village council.
Right.
But somehow it's, I don't know, it's not, you know.
I think you're giving yourself a little less credit, because when you look at the setup in Castara and you look at the setup of other village council in the exterior and you make the comparison, you all tend to
Ours
float
not
above.
as it was. I don't know why. I was a secretary, but I don't even know I lose the position. I don't know, you know. I really don't know what happened.
It wasn't a vote?
No,
All right, okay.
I don't know what happened. But then,
Sorry, go ahead.
yes,
go ahead.
go ahead.
No, I was going to say that in regard to the model and sharing it with Tobago, I think you could give, Castara could give, as much as they can, and I think it would still be just, just to be a skeleton probably when you transfer it to another village. When you think about the way those individuals, were born and, raised in that village, because regardless of how small Tobago is, Tobago kind of has its own culture within each village. Each village has its own unique culture. So I think that, trying to... You can take the model. You can take the model. And I think it would be successful. However, I think Castara would still be, unique in that aspect. It would still stand out regardless of where you apply it to,
Right.
You know why? Because everything we do it for north side. You know what I'm saying?
For the area.
Yeah, the north of Tobago.
Right.
Castara, Palatovia, land, so me
I was
bloody
going to
big.
say.
You know, we write. I remember when they wrote letter for bus to come to they write a bus for the north side. We're doing heritage is north side combined. We're doing this is north. So it's like we tend to embrace the other communities. We give of ourselves to them.
Right.
You know.
Is it? And I want to know what part does the government really play? Because I know most of the initiatives in Castara is done by the natives of Castara. But do you guys get a lot of assistance on, if yes, what type of assistance does the government, the area representative generally help you all with?
Let me do say European. I will say that Castara has been developed by Castarian. And that's what I tell everybody in Tobago. Castara been developed by Castarian. So when Castara make a decision for a guest house, his guest house will be his. There will be no political insight to say a minister or a secretary give nothing towards his guest house. Right? And once he could control his thing, one of the things that we try to do in Castara, get the politics out of it as much as possible.
Right.
Because once the politicians get inside for anything, it's a whole totally different turnover game, capitalize over for long, right?
Right.
And I will answer this question where we asked about the Castara model. When I went to Italy some months ago, right?
You went to where?
Italy, to represent Castara, the same city there. Best tourism village.
You all represented Castara in
Castara
Italy.
went to Italy.
So it was you and other...
was myself and Natasha Ligol.
Okay.
Right?
Congratulations on
And when we went, one of the things that we sell is to keep your village as it is.
Okay.
Right? And when we sell Castara as it is, the head of the groups also said that is what they were expecting to hear from other villages, because we meet villages like, for example, Brazil, Africa, China, Japan. Those are people that we compete with. And they were so blown away by Castara that they said they will be in Castara, I think it's November.
Okay.
As a visit. So mentor will be coming, right? And to say this is to say that Castara model could be shared to other villages.
Right.
But other villages must know what they have.
Right.
And to develop on their strength. If Castara's strength is coming together down the beach, and Mora's strength is liming by the roadside, that Mora lime by the roadside with the strength and develop that.
Okay.
Don't try to switch because Castara is on the beach. You
But
don't
it wouldn't work for Mariah because they don't have it's not a fishing community.
So I say, so where some of their strength are and they lies, what they have, they develop that.
Right.
take the mold of Castara you're having, Castara mold is to go forward with something strong as a unity. Unity gives strength going forward. But don't try to use Castara base strength where some way it can't fit into a beach. It may more fit by a river.
Right.
Right? Use your strength and develop that.
I would like to add something to the beach. Why Castara village is at the beach side? Because I think, if I'm wrong, I could be corrected. 1847, I'm sure, a hurricane destroyed the village of Castara first in Lot 47 at Miss Mills, I think. And then the village was relocated to the beach.
Okay. So it was more in the hills.
Miss Mills in the forest.
Okay.
And then the people, they tried, because I understood that they used to pay school fee for the children to go to school, where they couldn't even afford in the chapel school, the Castara Methodist school, you know, and they tried to keep their community from there. So when my colleague here is speaking about other villages, the Bay, developed the Bay culture, we were forced to be relocated to the beach because of a hurricane that destroyed. And the village, the word Castara means falling waters.
Fallen waters.
Yes.
I learned something today. Fallen waters.
Yes.
Thank you so much for that education.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm so glad that there's people in Castara that know the history of the village, yeah? Because you don't tend to see that a lot going on in the different villages. Persons actually know how they get the name, how the village came to be, how it's supposed to be, and where it was. But it is remarkable. It is remarkable that you guys know that. But we want to take a break, and when we come back, we will continue to have discussions about Castara and what they are doing there that makes them so special as a village in Tobago. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Tobago, after freeness is more speed and better TV. Get a free Samsung smartphone and free installation, plus 200 megabits per second, Paramount Plus, and more for only $299 with a select 200 plan from Flow. Visit online at discoverflow.co today.
Right now, Tobagonians are just currying down to Bonaccord, right in Stobie Local Road. You know why? To come down and shop at Authentic Builders General Hardware, the only hardware store in Tobago that is giving you guys Trinidad prices. So for instance, such as steel, half-inch and 5/8, $7,895. 5/8 construction ply for $260. Every single thing that you will need to do your home renovation or start your new construction, we have it right here. And to get your quotation, it's very easy. Just WhatsApp us at 272-1990 and we will do your free WhatsApp quotation for you.
Jimmy's Holiday Resorts has 1, 2, and 3 bedroom fully self-contained apartments located at the heart of Crown Point. Minutes walk to the popular beaches, restaurants, bars, and the airport. Enjoy our amazing amenities such as fully equipped apartments complete with Wi-Fi, AC, TV, and a pool, and a mini-mart on the compound. Call 639-8292 or 8929. Jimmy's Holiday Resorts is your family's home away from home.
So your car break down.
Oh no, not again.
And you're worried paying a wrecker could mean a pocket breakdown too. But when you're insured with Tatil, no stress.
Yes!
A Tatil motor policy has lots of benefits that protect your pocket, like free roadside assistance that's free 24/7 every time, as many times as you need. Tatil, where people are people. A member of the Ansa Macal Group.
There's a new date for Tobago Swim Fest, September 17th, 2023. Come and witness the main event, the 4-kilometer swim from Pigeon Point to Buku Point. More than $25,000 in prizes. It's a family affair, so come out from 11 a.m. on the beautiful Buku Beach. There'll be swimming races, sandcastle building, and seafood on sale. Come and enjoy a fun day at the beach. Calling swimmers from Crown Point to Charlottesville. Registration on the day.
Zinger sandwich comes the KFC Crispy Barbecue Zinger. Cheddar cheese, crispy onions, the most delicious Kentucky Fried Chicken, and barbecue sauce. Get ready for a whole new level of flavor.
All right, and we're back with live in Tobago Updates Television Studios with 40 Hour. So as you was doing the break, I was doing a little bit something that's flashing my mind about the Castara stakeholders coming together, right? And the group that they want to call. They say they didn't have a name yet, but I'm giving you one Castara.
Okay.
Take one Castara, right? So you give them. I ain't gonna take no royalties or anything from it. That's free of charge.
Okay.
All right, one Castara.
One Castara.
Yeah, it sounds like a product, and it sounds less bureaucratic. You understand?
One Castara.
Yes, one Castara. Right, nice. So, but we continue the discussion on what makes Castara so special as a community in Tobago. All right. And the question I want to ask is, right? What are some of the threats, if you foresee any threats that can disrupt the way of life of the Castara? What is it called? The Castarans? That's the word we use? Castarians. You see, I'm getting real education tonight, eh? The Castarians. What are some of the threats that you foresee that can disrupt the way of life of the Castarian?
Currently, the only threat I can really see is the threat of ourselves not upholding the standard that we set for ourselves, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So the generations moving forward, I could, if they don't enforce and learn the right things from the ones before them, I think that could really destroy, you know, what, you know, we spent so many decades, you know, building as a community. So that's the only threat I see to us at the moment.
Right. And seeing as though you guys come together mainly on anything that might threaten or bring a disruption to the way of life in Castara, how important do you see that, and why do you feel that it's important for everybody to come together and tackle it instead of, all right, well, that's his problem. Why is it not a problem for everybody in Castara when a situation arises?
Okay. When I grew up in Castara, you know, we as young fellas going the road, I couldn't have walked the road and pass a big person street.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I would say thank God if we did that. My mother bust my backside with licks. because it pay off now, right?
Mm-hmm.
It pay off, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Castara want to maintain the way how Mr. Benjamin mother, he has street that we used to walk freely, call a neighbor, take a neighbor mango, pick a neighbor breadfruit, and so like that, and so on and so on and so on. And one of the main threat that we see, and we don't want it up in Castara, is this gun thing.
Mm-hmm.
This gun violence, because we seen, you know, a couple years ago was 8 and now it's 9. Right?
Yeah.
And it is so sad to see that people lost their life by one shot bow.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Castara don't want that. Castara Embargo, we used to have a fist out, two-person quarrel, they clash together, you cup like I cuff you down, and tomorrow we do the same thing. If we're on the beach and 2 we quarrel, when we don't quarrel, we drink from the same bucket of water. And that's the way we have it in Castara. But when guns start to fire and shots start to fire, we have to think away, and we don't want that violence in Castara. Do what a gun thing. If you have your gun for a purpose, keep it the purpose you have it for, and not to be splashing and dashing and, you know, doing things that help people freed, because there are people right now scared to even start walk certain parts in Castara.
So you have that kind of fear creeping into the
yes,
village.
and we need to get that out totally. We don't want that fear. We want, you could run down the road like a boy any hour, any second, every minute. I know it's worker living up on a hill called Katipa, Mongzan Hill. You know, you can run that one, but now, you know, people told that the incident happening in Castara, they are scared of even going across by that street.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So we need to get this Castara back to normalcy.
I think education can help that, you know. And when I say that shipping,
Go ahead, Mr.
when I say education, I would talk to the youths, especially the male, you know, because I teach reading, I teach people to read, write, and spell, and I say, you guys look at the hour you're going to school. Sometimes I would step back from the bus and let them take the bus. I would say, you know, you guys, you're disenfranchised youths, you're African males, you know. You have to do better, you know, come out early, get up from your bed. And they would like to hear me. I would be on the bus stop lecturing and thing, and they would just listen, you know. One thing, they give me great respect, you know, as young people, because I know as a teenager, growing up with my brother, I going behind them, and Joe and Sil and Lennox Edwards, and, you know, and I always behind them, and our parents used to give us that freedom to create. They build the block, you know, and you're doing this and you're doing that. We're following them to village council meeting, and the same people in the village council go in the backyard and raid the fruit tree and peel the mandarin below what the pipe so they wouldn't smell it, and you know, and you would give us that freedom to be creative, and I still try to inspire them, you know, and they listen, they like to hear me.
Right.
And I just give them, you know, I give them a chance because they're young. As an adolescent, you test everything.
Right. And so, I asked that question about the threats, and a good thing I bring up the gun violence, Mr. Kwashi, in that the violence, or let me don't say the violence, let me say the presence of weapons, right, in the community, does that then now have an effect, or an effect of persons coming into Castara as in not being seen as safe?
Well, what we had done, right? What we had done now, we had speak it out loudly and say that, you know, what happened has passed and gone. And we are inviting boy to tell the boy that Castara is safe, to come as free as we want, come enjoy Castara, enjoy Tobago. We are open-handed for you still, because we're not going to say Castara will not be destroyed by just one incident.
Right.
That's why we take this step, because one is one too much.
Right.
One is one too much. And Miss Walker here is older than I am. If you actually if she ever hear going shooting Castara, I think she will tell you that I know. She will say no.
No.
Right?
Well, then that is a legal firearm, you know.
Yeah, but legal firearm pretty right use.
If I could add.
Yeah, go ahead.
In regards to that situation, right? From what I know of Castara, you know, I still consider myself as a youth. But from what I know, a situation like that in the past would not have gone down the way how it maybe would have gone down today, right? And I think that shows some development in the village as well, how we decide to treat with things, because we are aware that, you know, now we have a lot of eyes on us, and I don't think that we are threatened by our village, you know, succumbing to violence. I don't think that's not the problem. That's not the problem. The problem, or the issue that we're taking, is that person went a little too far, and we decided to treat it in a different way than maybe how it would have been handled. Because if you speak to, especially the older folks in the village, I think they are quite disappointed, and you know, it sounds quite absurd to them that something like this happened in the village, and you know, you didn't hear anything further from that. I wouldn't elaborate on that, but you know, I think there's a difference in how we're treating with it now, and there's a good reason for it. So the village isn't under threat that I see right now.
And generally, the individual is not a person that generally does these kind of things in general.
Well,
It's a one-off kind of.
I know nothing much about that individual, to be honest. You know, what I know, his father was from Castara, and he grew up in Scarborough/Trinidad. So that's as far as I know about him.
Okay. Okay. In terms of good examples for you, because I remember quite famously, and Ari might not know, but Ari and his brothers are famous, you know.
Really?
Yeah. Ari
I will
is
debate that. I will debate that.
Ari is a part of a triplet. Yes?
No,
Not
not really
you?
a triplet.
It's not really a triplet?
Not a triplet. Not a triplet.
But 3 brothers very close in age.
Exactly. Look at
Right.
triplet.
Very, very close. I didn't know it wasn't a triplet,
Yeah,
but I remember that the 3 brothers, they look alike and they're very close in age. All right. And so I think that I went to school, went to Bishop's, right? Right. So we went to Bishop's together, and those brothers, they stick together, and they were famous in the school. People knew about them, right? And I would like to think also that you guys were good examples in Castara as well. Am I wrong?
Well, I try my best to, you know, I wouldn't encourage anyone to follow in my footsteps. However, when it comes to the base things such as respect and how you carry about yourself, how you represent yourself and your family and your village, you know, I think there's certain foundations that I like to, you know, I set for myself, and I also encourage the other youths in the village to, you know, take those things into consideration when you're making certain decisions and whatnot. So I try my best to emphasize, you know, to try to be a good role model, plain and simple.
Maybe I think it's the way they grew up as Rastafari youths. And they held themselves up, and you know, people look up to them expecting to see, let me see what they're coming with now.
Right,
because they're Rasta from such time, they go to school, they go into Bishops, I'm looking at them.
Right.
And they held their head high. And,
and that's generally what you want in your community.
Yeah,
you want your young persons to have hold themselves to a high standard.
Yes, they do.
Yes? Right. So I'm not sure if anybody here could give me some details about you said that you went to Italy to represent Castara, the World Tourism Organization, right? So can you give me some details on the Best Village initiative that you all took part in or are currently taking part in, and what effect is that to have on Castara moving forward?
It's the best tourism village, eh?
Best tourism village, yes.
Best tourism village. Now, we wrote for apply for this program, you know, and when Castara applied for it, we didn't know that spies came to the same Castara, stays in guest house and see how we operate, because you know once you talk the truth, it shall set you free. Right?
So they sent person.
Yes.
Wow.
So
Unbeknownst.
So when this was applied for, and you know, go down and letters write and everything about Castara. For example, we said you know, you could go on the beach and meet a fisherman, asking for a boil, you give a piece of fish. My meet a man, you say, boy, look at breadfruit tree, give me a breadfruit now. You give you all those things that you want to put in it. And spies came, I said spies, people came unknowing to us.
Like secret shoppers.
Secret shoppers.
Yeah.
And they had liked what we had said because we had speak the truth about Castara. Right? And once you speak the truth again, it shall set you free.
Okay.
Right? So when you went to Italy to represent Best Tourism Village in the Caribbean, Italy, they couldn't say Tobago, they said tobacco. Right, so Tobago, and then so it had countries that to speak like English, and then you have interpreters, right? And one of the things they were basing on is Castara speak as it is. Because, for example, Natasha say in her language, you know, Tobago language different to boy language. She said, when you come to Castara and you go on the beach or something happen in Castara, we have judge, juror, magistrate, everything on the beach. And they were like, what that mean? So, okay, and you go on the beach, like 2 persons have an argument, you go on the beach, they will trash it out on the beach and tell Harry you're wrong or Dick you're wrong, you shouldn't do that, and X, Y, Z. We try it out on the beach directly.
And there's a village coming together to
Yes,
do it, just
and
not the two individuals.
not
but
the
the
two
village.
individuals. We go, once you go on the beach, if you go on the beach and ask, well, Mr. Benjamin, according to question I ask you back your answer, according to question I'm not your answer neither. You have to be clean with Castara.
Right.
Straight to the point.
Well, you know, I admire how the men, they would curse each other out real bad and now and in a moment they're talking as good as new. I said, but, you know,
That's true. That's
Yeah,
true.
it's
Because
that kind of tough love within the village.
Yes,
You know,
I
and
admire that.
it keeps people honest as well too, because you know you
you can ask up.
yeah, once you come in, you always have to come straight because you know you have people, you have onlookers and people, you know, you have, as you said, you have the judge and the jury there, so you know you have to present yourself in a way that you know that people may agree with you or not, and if someone don't agree with you, they will have no shame about telling you that you know you're wrong in this situation or you're right in this situation, and you know people always find some kind of compromise, but you know the initial disagreements and whatnot, you know, we allow people to have that you know, to express themselves in whatever way. But you know, once you keep it to a certain level, then you know, and you always keep that love within the village, because I think that's the most important thing. That's you know, you set the example, so the rest of the village sees that regardless of you know, people in the family might get away and disagree and whatnot, but you always had to maintain that love for each other. Right.
I want to say one thing. Junior or Ari would. I understand that there was this time some tourists left a bag worth 20,000 worth of photographic equipment on the beach.
I remember that one.
And he came the next day and reached it same way untouched. Maybe they can do it. So there's a high level of honesty there.
Yes. Because 20,000 in
I want to know
equipment,
if
that will be gone.
I want to know if it's US or TT.
Well, it was equipment like cameras and whatever.
Yeah, photography.
And you know, when he left, right, he left some guy sitting, there's a bench. Board bench, a boy sitting on. And he left it back like right here, so. And men were there. And he went, forget and go away. The men who were here do that and leave it back right there. And he come back the following day and reach it back just as he did with the identical spot. And when he take it back, open and tell him, said, this is mine, look at it. All of this equipment I left here. And nobody there wasn't, nobody just know, okay, you give her goods. And that man put us up high up on it. He was on Facebook. You know, he showed bag, right? High praise.
I like when you guys said you try to keep away from the politics, right? We live in an age where we depend a lot on politicians to get stuff done. What is Castara doing that is so special that they don't see the need to be politically involved when they're making the decisions?
Let me start with this one. I think Castara has a sort of attitude when it comes to overarching powers, if you would call it that. You could also go further to maybe say oppressors in certain cases, but we as a village, you know, we are very strong-minded, and we don't want to feel like, you know, we're being pinned down by you know, someone over us. So there's always that fighting spirit to rebel. Maybe it comes from, you know, our ancestors through slavery and whatnot, you know, but we still maintain that culture within the village. So when it comes to politics and politicians and all these things, yes, we know that we're citizens of the state, and, you know, we have a role to play in that society. However, when it comes to the state benefiting us, we appreciate the benefits, yes, but you're not going to use those benefits, or we're not going to be taking any handouts for you to then in turn oppress us as a village or upset our way of life. And you know, we as a collective, you know, we don't appreciate those kind of things. So someone, and because of the boldness of our society, you know, we're fishing society, you know, we're not afraid to say and speak our minds on certain things. So we are going to say something about it, and more importantly, we are going to take action in these things as well. Back in the days, you know, when they wouldn't be sending water for weeks on end, people in Castara have no water. After a while, we gave everyone a chance. We weren't rushing our decision making or anything like that. And then the village came together, and then we held a formal protest, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
And we during that protest, we really made our voices heard, and we showed the powers that be that, listen, if you don't comply with, you know, giving us the necessities that we need, we are going to impact the rest of Tobago and how it runs if we decide to not participate in a way that you would like us to, you know?
Right.
So we show that the people still have power in regards to these things, and not just some overarching power that controlling us as a village or as a society.
And the men there, they stand up, you know, the male in Castara. They stand up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yes.
There's a very redeeming quality. Strong men. When you have strong men in community,
yes.
the community is bound to thrive.
Right.
Not because Miss Walker says strong men, there are a lot of strong women like Miss Walker.
Very strong
that support their husband and may stand. If they do have a husband died, they still support Castara. We have that willpower.
Where they speak, we follow.
Exactly. Right? We don't want it to look like, you know, because a party in power, they could come and say, okay, we don't want to cause here. No. Something like within Castara must have a say in it. And the women have plenty power than what's in it. I'll keep it.
They make the dough of bread and
We had I heard about a village in Jamaica, kind of like a similar kind of feel how Castara is, and they had a similar water issue from the government. You know what they did? They pulled together and buy tanks and put them in strategic areas to catch the water, so that when the government doesn't send the water, they have enough water to put them through. And they didn't ask the government for a cent to do it, you know? So I always applaud when, because again, the people have the power. It's not the government. The people have it, right? So I always applaud when we are able to come together, right? And not let the political division get in the way.
Exactly.
Right? Because I'm pretty certain in Castara you will have people who support different parties, not so?
Yes.
Exactly, but they don't get that in. They don't let that get in the way of the progress of the village, because at the end of the day, that's the way of life. That's the way of life. So let me. I don't want to leave before I give you all a chance to tell us, or tell Tobago what Castara has to offer. Right? What currently Castara is doing, or what do you all plan to do in the future? What do you all have to offer? Because I know that you all bake the dirt oven bread and all of these things that have going on. What does Castara have to offer, as in events-wise?
Okay, Castara right now, we are on the eve of launching another program. Tourism-wise.
Okay.
I will not say much about it now, or we're on the eve of doing it.
Man, very secretive boy.
We are on the eve of doing it. Right? It will be launched. You will get information, because you know we don't hide anything very long. When we see this one, we're doing it. But Castara, one thing we need to do is to maintain Castara. Castara is, and we are going to stick to that point of getting Castara as Castara is. We are working together with the elders, working together with the youths, and we're coming together, everybody, and this is what Castara is going to get.
Right. And one of the things, and I had read from the initiative that you all did with the Best Tourism Village, is that to be recognized as a Best Tourism Village, you must have a lot of cultural, natural, and cultural assets in your village that needs to be protected and preserved, right? So tell us a little bit about that, the natural assets, the cultural assets. What do they have? What is currently in Castara that needs to be preserved in terms of that?
Need to be
preserved. Is it the natural, the rain, the flora, the fauna, the scenery, the sea?
Well, it's the way of life, you know. The way of life, the welcoming spirit, you know, that you welcome strangers. And at the moment, I think the villagers people are making their homes income earners. You know, each person there should make their home an income earner, because seeing that so many tourists are flocking to a village, you know, you make your home an income earner because they want to come by you to feel the vibes, as they say, and eat the nice food, and you know what I'm saying, and
Right.
you know.
So is it that everyone now in Castara is now moving towards having accommodation, right? Because what I remember when I was doing the studies on you guys have an arrangement where when somebody buy you and you book up, hey, I book up,
Yes, of course.
but my neighbor down there.
Yes. We have that love again going again. If you go back guest house, he have space. She do have. We'll call it one. Hold on, let me call you. A phone call away, and it's walking distance because Castara is not very large. Walking distance, and everybody support each other. They support, right? And everybody in Castara will not go into the house tourism. There's also a thing called fishing tourism.
Fishing tourism.
Right.
Explain that for me a little bit before we do. Quick.
And that's the one what I was about to say. How we keep.
They had to keep that on the wraps.
So bear in mind, you hear the word fishing tourism.
Right.
Fishing tourism. Very soon you're going to hear more about that.
I will. I'm very excited.
Yes, you are going to hear about it.
Even though I'm not a water person, I really can't deal with the water. But still,
it's a when that come together, it's like, okay, let me just give you a brief about it, how it goes. When a tourist come by Miss Walker, and he have his 5-10 rooms. Mr. Benjamin have his 5-10 rooms. Remember, is a fisherman.
Yeah.
Right? We link together.
Yeah, do like a small tour or something.
And we can do I say, okay, Mr. Koshi, the best fisherman around the area, Mr. William, Mr. John. We arrange tours through and they call it fishing tourism. So it's not just come to tourism alone. You have who will be doing for stores. Everything
Full
is that
product,
so when you come by Miss Walker, you get a full package. When you Lancaster, go to rainforest, you go on a fish, you go to hike, you go to the waterfall, and on the beach you end up eating a piece of roast red fruit.
Or roast fish.
Fish,
you understand? All right, one Castara, remember that, eh? Carry that back to them for me.
One Castara.
Castarians, if you're hearing, one Castara. All right? I want to thank you. We have come to the end of our program. I want to thank you so much, Castarians, for joining us in studio tonight. It was a wonderful discussion. I definitely learned a lot from you guys. And I'm certain Tobago took a lot from you guys. I always say we need to do more studies on the model that Castara is running, and we need to be able to not duplicate it as it is, but as you said, being able to apply it with your own spin. You understand? But definitely the community, the togetherness, all right? The way how you all move together as one and you speak as one community, we definitely need that spirit in every single village in Tobago. And I promise you, if it is we have that, then Tobago will be a much better place. All right? But for tonight, that is all that we have. But we will be back next week where we continue our stirring discussion, and we will be continuing discussing about the pertinent matters that affects Tobago today, right? All right, so from Tobago Updates Television Studios, my name is Edison Thomas, and until next week, I bid you adieu. Have a good night.